You're watching News 9, our top story at this hour, as the war in Iraq, Iran and Israel now escalate. It enters its sixth day. Explosions have now rocked Tehran as Israel claims attacks on centrifuge and weapons production sites in Iran. Now, Israel reportedly attacked Iran's Khojir missile production facility, the same site that it targeted in October as well. Social media footage show a plume of smoke in the direction of the facility. Israeli military said that more than 50 fighter jets carried out the extensive overnight airstrikes on Iranian military infrastructure, including a centrifuge production site in Tehran. Israel's Air Force released footage it said showed fighter jets taking off to carry out strikes on Iran. The attack comes after Iraq launched more missile towards Israel, including the hypersonic Fatah projectile, claiming that the weapon broke through Israeli air defense as well. Now, US President Donald Trump called for Iran's unconditional surrender and warned the US that patience was wearing thin, but said that there was no intention to kill Iran's leader just for now.
US President Donald Trump called for Iran's unconditional surrender Tuesday, ratcheting up tensions and marking a new escalation to the air war between longtime enemies Israel and Iran, now into its sixth day. After meeting with his National Security Council Tuesday to discuss the conflict, Trump wrote on Truth Social, "We know exactly where the so-called Supreme Leader is hiding," referring to Iran's Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. While he said there was no intention to kill Iran's leader for now, he added, "Our patience is wearing thin." Minutes later, he posted, in all capital letters, "Unconditional surrender." Trump had spoken to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu by phone on Tuesday, according to a White House official. Meanwhile, the US president also dismissed a verdict by his spy chief, Tulsi Gabbard, in March that Iran was not developing nuclear weapons. Responding to reporters on board Air Force One Tuesday, Trump said, quote, "I don't care what she said, I think they were very close to having one." In clashing with his spy chief, Trump now appears to side with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's justification for launching strikes last week on Iranian nuclear and military targets. Iran expert Trita Parsi, the executive vice president of the Quincy Institute in Washington, D.C., says the latest developments have the U.S. on the brink of a major escalation and that the Iranians likely won't submit to Trump's demand.
If they don't trust that surrender actually is an option because they believe that once they were to agree to it, the Israelis would not be content with just destroying the nuclear program. They would go after the missile program, and then it would snowball to a whole set of other things. And as a result, I don't think that they think is an actual option. So if Trump goes and insists on surrender, if talks even take place, I think it will ensure war.
The U.S. is bolstering its forces in the Middle East with more fighter aircraft. Those include F-16s, F-22s, and F-35s, according to officials Tuesday, who stressed the jets will be used defensively to shoot down drones and projectiles. A large buildup of tanker aircraft to Europe and deployment of an aircraft carrier have also given additional options to Trump as the war continues. Iran denies seeking nuclear weapons and has pointed to its right to nuclear technology for peaceful purposes, including enrichment, as a party to the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. Israel's Netanyahu, meanwhile, has stressed that he will not back down until Iran's nuclear development is disabled. Ever since Iran-backed Hamas attacked Israel on October 7, 2023, and triggered the Gaza war, Tehran's regional influence has waned. That was as Israel pounded Iran's proxies, from Hamas in Gaza to Hezbollah in Lebanon and the Houthis in Yemen.
And Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has broken his silence, issuing a stern warning after Israeli airstrikes rocked Tehran. Now, calling the Israeli strikes as unforgivable act of aggression, Khamenei declared that Iran will not ignore the attack on its territory. He confirmed the country's armed forces are now on full alert. The Supreme Leader for Iran also urged Arab nations to unite, accusing the West, specifically Israel, of trying to divide the Muslim world. His comments are now expected to trigger strong response from both Israel as well as West as tensions in the region continue to escalate. And Israeli military strikes have also hit 2 facilities in Iran that made parts of centrifuges, the machines that enrich uranium. Now, the UN nuclear watchdog, identifying themselves as Tessa Kharaj Workshop and the Tehran Research Center, that were attacked. In fact, International Atomic Energy Agency said on X, and I quote, at the Tehran site, 1 building was hit when advanced centrifuge rotors are in fact manufactured and tested. At Kharaj, 2 buildings were destroyed where different centrifuge components were manufactured. UN nuclear watchdog has now identified the 2 sites which were attacked by Israel, including the Tessa Kharaj Workshop and the Tehran Research Center. The International Atomic Energy Agency has written on social media X that the sites that were attacked, including 1 building which hosts advanced centrifuge rotors, and at Kharaj, 2 buildings were destroyed where different centrifuge components are manufactured. So essentially 2 important sites for Iran where nuclear arms are manufactured, the centrifuge rotors are manufactured, were attacked by Israeli airstrikes. And moving on, Iran has prepared missiles and other military equipment for strikes on US bases in the West Asian region should the United States join Israel's war against the country, according to American officials who have reviewed intelligence reports. The United States has sent about 3 dozen refueling aircraft to Europe that could be used to assist fighter jets protecting American bases, or that would be used to extend the range of bombers involved in any possible strike on Iranian nuclear facilities. Now, fears of a wider war are now growing among the American officials as Israeli officials also press the White House to intervene in its conflict with Iran. And if the United States join the Israeli campaign and strikes Fordo, a key Iranian nuclear facility, the Iranian-backed Houthi militia will also certainly resume striking ships in the Red Sea. This, of course, as per official sources. They further added that pro-Iranian militia in Iraq and Syria would also probably try to attack US bases there. So even as pressure is growing on the US to join Israel's war on Iran, it appears that Iran is now ready to attack any country that supports Iran. And the US military is deploying more fighter aircrafts now to the Middle East and extending the deployment of other warplanes as well, bolstering US military forces in the region as the war between Israel and Iran rages on. This as per at least 3 US officials. Now, one of the officials also said that deployments include F-16, F-22 and F-35 fighter jets and fighter aircraft. 2 of the officials stressed that defensive nature of the deployment of fighter aircraft, which have been used to shoot down drones and projectiles, suggests that that's all they will be used for, defense, at least for now. We continue to track all those details as far as the brewing war in the Middle East is concerned. It appears that the US is now facing increased pressure from its Israeli counterparts to join Israel in its fight against Iran. The latest, of course, is that the US military is deploying more fighter aircraft to the Middle East and extending the deployment of other warplanes as well. That's a brewing story that we will continue to track. But shifting focus now, India and Canada have now agreed to designate new high commissioners for the first time since 2023, when Canada accused the Indian government of orchestrating killing of Khalistani activist terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar with a view to returning to regular services to citizens as well as businesses in both countries. Prime Minister Modi and Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney held bilateral discussions on the sidelines of the G7 Leaders Summit. The two leaders also discussed the strong and historic ties between the people, partnerships in Indo-Pacific and significant commercial links between Canada and India, including partnerships in economic growth, supply chains and energy transformation.
भारत और कनाडा के संबंध अनेक प्रकार से बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है। कनाडा की अनेक कंपनियों का भारत में निवेश है। भारत के लोगों का भी कनाडा की धरती पर बहुत बड़ा निवेश है। लोकतांत्रिक मूल्यों को समर्पित कनाडा और भारत मिलकर के लोकतंत्र को मजबूत करना होगा, मानवता को मजबूत करना होगा, हमारे रिसोर्सेज का ऑप्टिमम यूटिलाइजेशन कर करके मानव जात के कल्याण के काम में कैसे ला सकते हैं, उस दिशा में हम प्रयास करते रहेंगे। और मुझे विश्वास है कि प्रधानमंत्री जी के चुनाव के बाद मुझे पहली बार मिलने का मौका मिला है, तो इस चुनाव के भव्य विजय के लिए भी मैं उनको बधाई देता हूं और आने वाले कालखंड में उनके साथ भारत और कनाडा मिलकर के अनेक क्षेत्रों में प्रगति करेंगे।
In terms of the bilateral relationship, which is your question, I think the meeting today was important, but I would describe it as foundational, as a necessary first step, an exchange of views, frank, open exchange of views around law enforcement, transnational repression as two examples, an agreement to provide the necessary foundations to begin to rebuild a relationship based on mutual respect, sovereignty, trust, and that begins with what was agreed. You asked for concrete, which is that we will move to appoint high commissioners again. And let me just finish by putting that in context, which is there are very deep ties of people and businesses between Canada and India. It's well known. It's part of your point about where the relationship could go. And they are not served at present by consular services, in effect, certainly by high commissioners. And it's necessary to have that level of service as a basis on which to build out, again, in the context of respect for sovereignty and to begin to realize the potential of the relationship. And we will, we're both committed to work towards that, but there's a lot of work that will need to be done.
And moving on now, Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri on Friday, which is 18th of June, said that the Prime Minister had a telephonic conversation with US President Donald Trump, which lasted for approximately 35 minutes. The Foreign Secretary said that Prime Minister Modi and US President Trump were scheduled to meet on the sidelines of G7 summit, but President Trump had to return to the US early, due to which the meeting could not take place. Now, Misri said that this was the first conversation between the two leaders after Operation Sindoor. He added that Prime Minister Modi reiterated India's consistent position that it has never accepted a third-party mediation and will not accept it in the future as well. He said, and I quote, Prime Minister Modi told President Trump clearly during his entire series of incidents, never was talks held at any level on India-America trade deal and mediation between India and Pakistan by America. The talks regarding cessation of military action was held directly between India and Pakistan under the existing channels established between two militaries. It was done at Pakistan's request. The two leaders also discussed other pressing global issues, including Israel-Iran war, the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Let's listen in to that briefing.
प्रधानमंत्री मोदी और राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप की मुलाकात G7 समिट की साइडलाइंस पर होनी तय थी। राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप को जल्दी वापस अमेरिका लौटना पड़ा, जिसके कारण ये मुलाकात नहीं हो पाई। इसके बाद राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप के आग्रह पर आज दोनों लीडर्स की फोन पर बात हुई। बातचीत लगभग 35 मिनट चली। 22 अप्रैल को पहलगाम आतंकी हमले के बाद राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप ने फोन पर प्रधानमंत्री मोदी को शोक संवेदना प्रकट की थी और आतंक के खिलाफ समर्थन व्यक्त किया था। उसके बाद दोनों लीडर्स की ये पहली बातचीत थी। इसलिए प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप से ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के बारे में विस्तार से बात की। प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप को स्पष्ट रूप से कहा कि 22 अप्रैल के बाद भारत ने आतंकवाद के प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने उन्हें साफ शब्दों में बताया था कि यदि ऐसा होता है तो भारत पाकिस्तान को उससे भी बड़ा जवाब देगा। 9-10 मई की रात को पाकिस्तान के हमले का भारत ने बहुत सशक्त जवाब दिया और पाकिस्तान की सेना को बहुत नुकसान पहुंचाया। उसके मिलिट्री एयर बेसिस को इनऑपरेबल बना दिया। भारत के मुंहतोड़ जवाब के कारण पाकिस्तान को भारत से सैन्य कार्रवाई रोकने का आग्रह करना पड़ा। प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप को स्पष्ट रूप से कहा कि इस पूरे घटनाक्रम के दौरान कभी भी किसी भी स्तर पर भारत अमेरिका ट्रेड डील या अमेरिका द्वारा भारत और पाकिस्तान के बीच मध्यस्थता जैसे विषयों पर बात नहीं हुई थी। सैन्य कार्रवाई रोकने की बात सीधे भारत और पाकिस्तान के बीच दोनों सेनाओं की एग्जिस्टिंग चैनल्स के माध्यम से हुई थी और पाकिस्तान के ही आग्रह पर हुई थी। प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने जोर देकर कहा कि भारत ने न तो कभी मध्यस्थता स्वीकार की थी, न करता है और न ही कभी करेगा। इस विषय पर भारत में पूर्ण रूप से राजनीतिक एकमत है। राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप ने प्रधानमंत्री द्वारा विस्तार में बताई गई बातों को समझा और आतंकवाद के खिलाफ भारत की लड़ाई के प्रति समर्थन व्यक्त किया। प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने यह भी कहा कि भारत अब आतंकवाद को प्रॉक्सी वॉर नहीं, युद्ध के रूप में ही देखता है और भारत का ऑपरेशन सिंदूर अभी भी जारी है। राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप ने प्रधानमंत्री मोदी से पूछा कि क्या वे कनाडा से वापसी में अमेरिका रुक कर जा सकते हैं। पूर्व निर्धारित कार्यक्रमों के कारण प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने अपनी असमर्थता व्यक्त की। दोनों लीडर्स ने तब तय किया कि वे निकट भविष्य में मिलने का प्रयास करेंगे। राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप और प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने इजरायल ईरान के बीच चल रहे संघर्ष पर भी चर्चा की। रूस यूक्रेन कॉन्फ्लिक्ट पर दोनों ने सहमति जताई कि जल्द से जल्द शांति के लिए दोनों पक्षों में सीधी बातचीत आवश्यक है और इसके लिए प्रयास करते रहना चाहिए। इंडो पैसिफिक क्षेत्र के संबंध में दोनों नेताओं ने अपने परिप्रेक्ष्य साझा किए और इस क्षेत्र में क्वाड की अहम भूमिका के प्रति समर्थन जताया। क्वाड की अगली बैठक के लिए प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप को भारत यात्रा का निमंत्रण दिया। राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप ने निमंत्रण स्वीकार करते हुए कहा कि वे भारत आने के लिए उत्सुक हैं।
Shifting focus now, the government has announced a new FASTag annual pass for private vehicles priced at just 3,000 rupees annually. The scheme will allow users to make up to 200 toll-free trips across national highways throughout the country in a year, reducing costs, congestions and complaints. Now, Union Minister for Road Transport and Highways Nitin Gadkari confirmed that the pass will be available from 15th of August this year, adding that the policy will simplify toll collection by offering a single affordable payment, doing away with repeated deductions and confusions. Now, the move will use existing FASTag infrastructure but aims to gradually replace toll booths with sensor and GPS-based tolling for truly barrier-free travel. This is also the centre's answer to long-standing complaints about closely placed toll booths and high travel cost for private users and private vehicles. Now, not only will this enable faster journey, but also reduce disputes, help manage highway traffic more efficiently, giving users peace of mind and smoother commutes. All users need to do is visit the apps and website, log in using FASTag credentials, enter their vehicle number, mobile details and pay as much as 3,000 rupees online via either UPI card or net banking, and FASTag will then be auto-linked to their annual pass, and activation will be completed within 24 hours. Application is quite simple as well. A dedicated link for activation will be made available soon. The Rajmarg Yatra app, the NHAI website, and on Road Transport Ministry website. So these are the three places you can use to apply for the new annual FASTag pass.
पिछले अनेक दिनों से लोगों की टोल के बारे में काफ़ी तकरार थी। सरकार ने जो निर्णय किया है वो बहुत बड़े प्रमाण पर जनता को राहत देने वाला है, जिसमें 3,000 रुपये में जो पास है साल भर का, उसकी अगर टोल पे किया जाएगा तो उसकी कीमत कम से कम 10,000 से ज़्यादा रुपये का टोल देना पड़ता था, वो केवल 3,000 रुपये में होगा। और ये जो वैलिडिटी है, एक साल में 200 ट्रिप वो क्रॉस कर सकते हैं। इसके साथ साथ एक ट्रिप मीन्स एक टोल को क्रॉस करना। इसका फ़ायदा ये होगा कि 200 ट्रिप्स यानी 200 टोल क्रॉस करना होगा और एक टोल क्रॉसिंग की एवरेज कॉस्ट केवल 15 रुपये पड़ेगी। कुछ जगह पर ये 80 रुपये है, 50 रुपये है, 100 रुपये है, तो ये केवल 15 रुपये हो जाएगी। और अभी जो सिस्टम हम लोग ला रहे हैं उसके बाद टोल नाके पे जैसे रुकना पड़ता था, रुकने की भी ज़रूरत नहीं पड़ेगी और निश्चित रूप से ये जनता को ये स्कीम से राहत मिलेगी। ये स्कीम केवल नेशनल हाईवे के लिए है क्योंकि वही हमारा अधिकार है। बाकी रोड जो स्टेट के होते हैं उसके ऊपर ये लागू होने का प्रश्न ही नहीं होता।
Moving on now, Karnataka government is contemplating to increase the maximum daily working hours from 9 to 10, as we told you earlier, excluding establishments with fewer than 10 employees from the purview of the Act. The proposed changes are expected to be made by amending the Karnataka Shops and Commercial Establishments Act of 1961, extending overtime working hours to 12 hours. According to Labour Minister Santosh Lad, a committee headed by Manoj Joshi suggested these changes. However, no final decision regarding the changes have been taken just as yet. Minister Santosh also clarified that no such decision will be made without consulting all concerned stakeholders.
The committee, which is headed by Mr. Manoj Joshi, who has come from the Government of India, he has come and met our Chief Secretary, and on the compliance issue and as well the working issues, they have given a formal proposal. So this is not done by state government. The proposal, they have come and discussed on it. So on this, definitely, in case, first of all, we are with the same 9 hours working. So collectively, we are going to call everybody, all walks of life, every industry will be called. We will have a discussion with them. Then department will apply our mind. We will talk to the Chief Minister, consult all the cabinet colleagues. Then we are going to come up with an answer. But as of now, to clarify, this is nothing to do with the state government.
And moving on, the Supreme Court of India today questioned the state of Tamil Nadu for the suspension of Additional Director General of Police H.M. Jayaram in relation to his alleged involvement in an abduction case. The court expressed shock at the Madras High Court's direction to arrest ADGP. The court asked the state of Tamil Nadu whether his suspension from the service was necessary given the fact that he has joined the investigation. Questioning the officer's suspension, the court told the state's counsel that they couldn't suspend him as it was demoralizing, especially he has served for 28 years. The court also said that these types of orders are shocking, referring to the Madras High Court order of arrest on 16th of June. The senior police officer, who was taken into custody in High Court premises minutes after his order, and the order of the Madras High Court, has now sought regular bail in the crime registered in Thiruvallur in Tamil Nadu. The suspension order was issued by the Home Department of Tamil Nadu government. He was picked up by the Thiruvallur district police personnel when he came out of the High Court premises on Monday. He's facing charges of abetting a gang by providing his official car to abduct a teen boy to separate a couple. And that order, of course, he challenged in the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court has now reprimanded Tamil Nadu government. But that's all we have on the show. Thank you very much for watching.